Hey, welcome back everyone. We are now approaching the middle of July, and as we get closer to the final episode of The Bad Batch, which is due by this August, episode 16 is said to have a saga-wide implication and a lot of revelations to the Star Wars universe overall. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars material. Now, also, if you guys would like to go ahead and check me out at Mike01 on Twitter, you can go ahead and do so if you would like to. Now, when we go ahead and examine everything that has happened since February during the Gina Carano fired scenario, a lot of things have happened since then between Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, and exactly what's been going on between the two, and how they're working very closely with George Lucas, handing down his concepts and ideas to be made into future Star Wars TV shows and movies and books, novels, and comics and whatnot. That's really going to resonate with fans further. So, I really want to focus on a major aspect here that a lot of fans have been very much curious about, is that everything related to the Gina Carano rehired plan that is still underway. We're going to be learning more and more about that throughout the rest of the summer, leading into this September, which is where Gina Carano is actually going to have to make her own decision on whether or not she actually wants to come back to the Star Wars brand. That's all up to her. So, what's really intriguing about all of this, alright, given that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are doing everything in their power to really make Star Wars as best as possible, alright, they really are trying their absolute best to bring Star Wars back to its roots, to making Star Wars great again. Of course, we all know that back in the day, in the 1970s and the 1980s, when the original trilogy was a big deal, Star Wars was really at its peak. That's where, obviously, Star Wars was new at the time. It was really becoming something before it actually went into the expanded universe. So, what's really intriguing about all of this is that now that both Disney and Lucasfilm are primarily focused on their new shows like Star Wars Ahsoka and even the 3rd and 4th seasons of The Mandalorian, it's best described that currently many changes are being made behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm in order to, of course, by both Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni in order to regulate the Star Wars brand overall. However, it's described that in a recent interview with actress Brie Larson about the future of Marvel and her thoughts on Star Wars, she was eventually questioned about the Gina Carano firing, to where Brie Larson went on to state that, "I believe that Lucasfilm made the right call with that decision," which is, of course, was a hard decision, I'm sure, on all fronts, a part of what was given by Lucasfilm, where Disney, to my knowledge, had warned her several times on Twitter. That's just something you don't do on social media, and I personally found it to be very offensive, to say the least. Brie Larson goes on to state that someone like Gina Carano seems like she was way too overconfident with herself, believing that she could get away with saying all of these different things on platforms like Twitter. Now, like me on my YouTube channel, of course, Brie Larson's talking about her YouTube channel, I would never say anything like that. Do I like to promote activism? Yes, she says, but I would never in my life make comparisons like Gina did. Brie Larson continues to state that, "I feel that Gina should be held responsible for creating a further divide within the Star Wars community, since now there are fans who support and don't support her for what she said, and hey, I mean, this was bound to happen. I think that writers like Leslie Headland are doing a great job hiring actresses that don't go on social media freely, saying what they want to like that." Additionally, separate from all of this, it's actually said that The Acolyte is set to begin filming by February of next year, which is a big delay in comparison to the planned August shoot, due to Kathleen Kennedy creating many setbacks for the show. So, the one thing that I really want to point out here that I think is very important is that Brie Larson, obviously, I think that we all expected her to have these specific beliefs of, you know, not really supporting Gina Carano and believing that Gina Carano, what she posted on social media, was not the right thing. Now, to all of you, we all have our own opinions, and that is fine. Everybody has their own take on the Gina Carano scenario. Everything that happened when she got fired by Lucasfilm, and how Kathleen Kennedy handled it so poorly, and all these different things, right? So, the thing about Brie Larson is that this was all expected to be said from her. I mean, I really couldn't have believed a different reality where Brie Larson would actually support Gina's posts on Twitter. But one thing that I think is very important to know is that what Brie Larson said about this divide, essentially she's blaming Gina Carano for creating a divide within the Star Wars fandom. Now, I don't know if you guys agree or disagree with that, that's all on you, but one thing I will say is that, if anything, I believe that it gave a more vivid view of how Lucasfilm operates as a company. Alright, now, Lucasfilm, the way that they handled her firing on social media, to me at least, was completely unacceptable. It really was something that really should have been handled in a far better way, in a more professional matter that could have been all the more, smarter and, done in a better way by Kathleen Kennedy. Obviously, Kathleen Kennedy as a person did not care about how this was done. She just wanted Gina Carano out as soon as possible. Now, the other thing about all of this is that, obviously, since Brie Larson is said to be attached to the Acolyte series as the new character Maeve, who is going to be a Jedi god in a sense, and is going to have a major connection to the Wills. We're going to be learning more and more about that. Brie Larson's also connected to the Marvels. Alright, she's going to be in that movie. Now, obviously, this show by Leslie Headland, it doesn't seem like it's really moving along smoothly. We've seen constant delays, constant setbacks, all these different problems arising. We've seen all these different creative differences between Kathleen Kennedy and Leslie Headland, and even some of the directors and writers that have been fired on and off by Kathleen Kennedy herself. So there's that also. Let's not forget about that. The other thing that I do believe that's crucial for Gina Carano making her decision, alright, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, is that John and Dave, they had that major meeting on May 27th about whether or not they want to bring back Gina Carano, and that actually is going to be finalized by August, alright? So that was done with the Disney board members. That's all going to be finalized by this August, and it's looking good. Of course, once that's finalized, it's all up to Gina to really make her decision on whether or not she wants to come back for either Season 3 or 4 for The Mandalorian. That's all on her. That all depends on if she even wants to come back to the Star Wars universe, and it's going to be a big deal. I mean, whatever decision that she makes, it's going to be a big deal regardless. It's going to make some fans happy, other fans unhappy, and at the end of the day, guys, this is all about self-respect too. She most likely wants to respect herself, which is why she gave that vague answer to the fans a couple of days ago about her return. So she's being very careful about her statements, and I respect that. I understand that. I can see why she's going through that route. So let me know what you guys have to say about this entire, situation here of what's happening between, Disney and Lucasfilm and everything that has to do with Gina Carano. And what do you guys think about Brie Larson overall as a person and an actress? Let me know what you guys think about all that below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Night to moon, we hear them moans again. No.